This video is going to be about power. Well, you might think power, that's an easy topic. Well, there's 4 places we're going to get power from. So let's go through them all and talk about some of the issues and problems. And we're going to talk also about some diagnostic steps you can take to figure out why something isn't working. Over the years, obviously, it's quite possible that wires and leads and such could get hurt by normal service, or maybe extra normal service in that case. So what we're going to do is go to the scan tool. We're going to talk about the main power connector on it first, and that's going to be right down here. Now, this particular connector is a barrel type connector, so they're built to be very, very bulletproof. Easy plug-in connector to a round hole on the side of the scan tool. Works really well. It's connected, of course, to a 110 volt, 120 volt connector, and it looks like this. It plugs into the wall. Now, a couple things we want to talk about really quickly here. If you take a look at it, we've got a plug on the end right over here. This plug, of course, goes ahead and gives us voltage to the outlet. So if we would unplug this, you'll notice that eventually the green light is going to go ahead and go out. There's some capacitors in here, so it stays on for a short period of time, but the green light's going to go out. That would be an indicator that you're not getting 110, 120 volt power to the box itself. If you're not getting 110, 120 volts here, your green light is not going to be on when you go ahead and look at it. So keep that in mind. Now, remember, this also has to plug into the scan tool down here. So if it plugs into the scan tool, we can have a green light here. That does not mean that we're actually getting power down to the scan tool. All this green light means, very simply, is that we're hooked up to the 110, 120 volt. If you suspect that there's a problem with your power cord, or maybe your power adapter, or your wire here hooking to the scan tool, pretty easy diagnostics. All you really need to do is take one of the other power cords that come with your unit and plug it in. So here's what one looks like. If you look at it right over here, we've got a cigarette lighter type plug. Remember, the cigarette lighter in the vehicle has to work for this to work. This then just goes ahead, of course, and plugs in down here and charges up or powers your scan tool. It's that simple. Now, there is something to watch here. There is a fuse built into this device. So what you want to keep in mind is we can unthread the barrel end of this item and then go ahead and remove the fuse. The fuse is located right here in this area. And the fuse is serviceable and replaceable separately. So make sure the fuse is good if you're using this. If you're going to use diagnostics, you want to go ahead and make sure the fuse is definitely good. So pretty simple as far as that goes. They are fused because we're drawing voltage obviously directly from the 12 volt battery on the vehicle. So it's about 12.6 volts or so. Now, if for some reason you don't have this cord, lost it, or you have a situation where it's not functioning, there's also another way to go. And this particular cord clamps onto the battery. So we got a positive hookup in red, ground hookup in black, and then we have a barrel lead, once again, that hooks up to the scan tool on the side. Now, the important thing here is, keep in mind, it's a quality unit, so these things are fused. There's a fuse that's separate in both the hot feed side and also the ground side. So there's your fuse. So we have 2 fuses in this one. Either fuse being blown obviously is going to cause this not to be able to power up the scan tool. So right now, if we take a look at it, we have 3 power sources we've talked about so far as the scan tool goes. So if one source isn't functioning, just use another source to validate that if that's good or bad. Chances of the scan tool failing are pretty slim. If there's a charging problem, it's probably going to be a cable, because a cable is something you're going to be working with all the time. Could have got stretched one day, maybe something happened, someone tripped over it, whatever the case might be, stress the cable. So let's get back to this power area here. Now, if you take a look at it, notice now our light is not green any longer. So no green light. We're not plugged in on this end, the scan tool end whatsoever. And we have a situation, of course, where we unplugged on the 110, 120 volt. So I'm going to go ahead and plug the 110 and 120 volt in. If you noticed instantly, we have what? A green light. The green light just basically symbolically tells us that we've got 110, 120 volts to the unit itself. Notice right now, it's not plugged in. So the green light doesn't mean it's charging. All the green light means is you're getting power to the unit itself. What you would have to do, of course, to get the thing to charge is plug it in. It's pretty simple. And once again, you've got 3 sources that you can use to go ahead and validate that you have power going to the scan tool itself. Now, let's go a little further though, because this particular scan tool is one of the new advanced scan tools out there, and it's wireless. Wireless, so you can go ahead, of course, and work on the car with the scan tool in your hand. You can have the scan tool under the hood, attached to the steering wheel, whatever you want to do to go ahead basically and make it comfortable for you to diagnose the vehicle. So, remember, we got a pretty big battery in here, so you don't need the power cable hooked up all the time, especially when you're working on a car. No power cable required. You got plenty of battery life in here. But you want to keep it charged up so you're ready to go. So once again, green light on, 110, 120 volts here, got to be plugged in, 12.6 volts out of the connector barrel. Now, we also, of course, have our smart device. So this thing needs to be powered because it's our wireless connector from the vehicle over to the scan tool. So the scan tool power is handled by the battery, not a problem, but this has got to be powered up. So you want to keep in mind, normal power from this on any application comes from the 16-pin connector, which very simply means that, hey, this has got to supply 12 volts and a ground to the smart box. And we do that real easily just by plugging in. This plugs into the vehicle diagnostic connector. The vehicle diagnostic connector, pin 16 is a 12-volt feed, and pin 4 and 5 are grounds. Now, what happens if you go ahead and plug this in and you don't see it light up? Because right now, if you notice, it's not lit up. So if we do plug in, we could have a car problem. Now, someone may think that the box has got a problem, but the box rarely fails. This cable rarely fails unless there's physical damage to it, or if there's a situation where a pin might be bent over. And once again, remember, it's pin 16 and 4 and 5. But what's an easy way to diagnose it? Pretty simple. What we're going to do is take our regular connector that we charge our regular unit with and plug it in, of course, right over here. And as we plug it in, we're going to notice in just a minute, this box is going to go through some logical checks. There's the backlighting of it. And in about 13 seconds, it's going to go ahead, of course, and gives us some script on a self-check that says that it is in good shape, pretty much. So if you have an issue with the box not lighting up, remember, could be the car. So what you want to do is just plug another power connector in here. The connectors are all the same. Now, what happens if you don't have this connector with you? It's real simple. We're just going to go ahead and hook up the cigarette light adapter right over to here, okay? Plug it in, and we should see the box light up. That's how we diagnose the box. If it now lights up, didn't light up when we use this cable, we know it's a problem with the car supply. Now, got to make sure the cigarette lighter works, of course, to use this one. Now, you also have another alternative. You can hook directly to the battery and then go ahead in this particular case and plug in to our good old barrel connector down here. We're plugged in, hooked to the battery. This is going to light up. That's another way to go ahead and diagnose to see if the vehicle has power or not. Remember, if the box is not powered up, it can't work. The box has to wirelessly talk to, of course, our scan tool unit. That's it. So it's pretty simple. So that's the story on power.